So we're on the hunt for something capable of taking out not one, but 2 dragons.
Delight of delights.
My great-great-grandad used to tell me about a great red stone that made the local fauna fierce enough to take on. Been pinched in half?
That's what destroyed those dragons.
How can I suppose anything with those eyes sizing me up like so much rump roast?
It's drawing water from the sea.
It'll use it against us unless we can stop it.
Opens to welcome you!
Stay back, my friend.
I needed that. Death is its own deliverance.
I'll make short work of this scum.
I'll grind you to a fine dust.
Have mercy on your soul.
The seven grant abundance.
Your flesh. Why, you're positively radiating. It's been years since a warm blood has wandered through these caverns, and I know not. I know so little. My life in full I recall, from my earliest memories to my most recent sorrows. I was on board a ship from Errata to Sicile. The night was black as ink, and the lighthouse in the distance offered us no aid. The ship's hull soon met the cragged. The thing I can least reconcile is that my own husband, my Samson, keeps the lighthouse. What could have become of him that night? My mind races with the possibilities. Gossipers, they nearly ruined me. In life, I was a natural philosopher, you see. Errata, an elfish land not so far from Sicile, happens to boast the finest telescope in all of Rivellon. When I arrived, I found an instant friend in the telescope's keeper, an elfish scientist. We had much to share concerning our studies, and found great joy in one another's company. It was a friendship as pure as starlight. As the insinuations became increasingly vile, I thought it best to sail back to Sicile straight away, and to introduce Faladar, my friend, to Samson, my only love, putting any and all foul rumors. As you know, though, we never made it. Faladar is lost forever, and what has become of my darling Samson, I know not. He could never. You mean to say he left us to those savage waters on purpose? And yet, if what you say is true, well, I must meet him in any case.
Rawr! That is...
And yet, look at us now. Not even death could impede our reunion. I beg of you, my love, forgive me.
You've heard the whole story by now. Perhaps you can help me settle my mind. Half of me is furious and the other half is...
Indeed. Samson committed a terrible deed, but
I suppose you're right. The deed is done, and I can do naught but move forward now.
Shining soul, my love. From its incomparable purity, even the diamond hides its dull complexion and shame. The nightmare is at an end. We are together again, and shall remain so evermore.
Yes, the past is the past.
Now, where is my pepper? Did it sprout legs and run away? Ah, there it is.
Where's young Esmeralda these days? She has the softest winking whiskers. You found my collar? Oh, thank you. Bless you. I shall don it right this instant. Maxine, my love, look at me. I am wearing it. The collar I told you about. The one you told me was but the fancy of a dream. Here it is. A band of jewels, such as no one in Sicile has ever beheld.
Dear me, but that choker looks absolutely fabulous on you. Simply smashing. I can't believe it's real. Oh, darling Sam, you are a Tom of means after all.
That I am, my little tigress. Behold my true collar, and marry me. Make me yours, and my very life I shall dedicate to your happiness.
Oh, what a passionate puss you are, my darling Sam. As as impetuous as ever. But indeed you do seem to have the right and reason to be. Oh, I shall hold you in suspense no longer. Yes, my dear Sam, I will marry you.
With a word, you have stopped my heart and set it beating anew with untold vigor. Come, my love, my lean-tailed lady. By the fire of the hearth, let us lie and purr the night away.
And so Sam's story has a happy end after all. What a cynical thing to say. She loved him all along, but was worried about the children they might have.
It is a pity indeed to see how this treasure of a cat, this pinnacle of nature's beauty, has been corrupted by the wretched mores of man. Base materialism has done. Let the story of Sam and his beloved serve as an example of this bitter truth. Between two humans, no love is unconditional. So strongly does this sad depravity seep from our... We suffer from the inability to bestow love devoid of logic, devotion devoid of design. Wealth, status, prestige, love. It is the name we give a base ambition, a delusion we blindly compel to be true and therefore falsely hold to be absolute. Pity love, and be wary of her too, for she is but a deception. Ha! Nonsense, is it? At least one of you has come to realize that love is but the vagary of fantasies. I shall not deny that my mind too was puerile once, that I too loved to be. Ah, enough! Forget what I said. Dig love a...
Come on, you chicken!
Ah, hello. I suppose you're here to viciously interrogate me for information I don't have, like our noble...
Oh, you haven't left town yet, have you? Oh, my dearest, dearest Sam. He's positively the tenderest tomcat in the world, and you are the most darling of sweethearts for having reunited him with the wealth he lost to the waves. I met him a pauper, but married him a prince. As a stray did he besiege my heart, but as a sovereign he won it, as a...
My purveyor of happiness! Maxine and I always rejoice at the mere... We are married, my friend. Can you believe it? Oh, how blissfully happy we are. Legions of litters we'll have, she and I. There'll be tiny Sams and mini Maxines on every roof and in every garden of Sicile. Frolicking felines. What a feeling. Meow.
Join the Spud Club if you've got an eye for fast potatoes.
roasting! Baking like a cake.
So good to see you again, Source Hunter. I shall be very glad by all means. I'll grant you that the 2 survivors of that expedition were a bit cowardly, but I can hardly blame them. My legionnaires, they all perished. For 2 years, all news has been still. I thank you for telling me, Source Hunter. Knowledge is better than uncertainty.
Beyond these walls, the dead roam free, Hunter. Be vigilant.
Hail, Source Hunter. Good to see you've reached Lacula Forest. There were times when I came to this neck of the woods it surrounds us here, like an invisible mist. Takes cat's eyes to see it creep. Only, if you don't mind my pointing this out, the mists will continue to hang over Sicil too, as long as Councillor Jake's murder remains unsolved. I don't mean to tell the cook how to fry fish, but Sicil won't be safe until that particular issue has been settled. Ha! Zigzags would see you dash rather than mosey. But matters such as these... Leandra and her cronies may be lunatics all, but they're far from brainless. So...
Paralysis hit!
Vengeance from the skies! Teach you to fear the air itself.
Cleansed in holy rain! Soaked to the skin.
My heart beats too slowly to sustain me.
In the name of the goddess, halt! Who goes there? In that case, you can rest easy, Hunter. There is no source to be found here. Why, it's Silver Glen, of course. Once the abode of we have traded the search for silver for the pursuit of divinity. I'm sure this sounds strange in what are strangers' ears, but you must know that but a short while ago a frightful sickness felled us by the dozen, until she showed us how we may overcome the frailty and even the decrepitude of our mortal bodies. That is why we now live a life of devoutness and civility. But I suggest you talk to Father Loic if you want to learn more about the ways of the goddess. Be welcome, therefore, to Silver Glen. Blessed be all Immaculates. The world is not immaculate
The Immaculates
as yet,
here seem to be a friend.
Never fear, friend. The condom...
The degenerates here claim they have been cleansed. But I can still smell the stink of persisting putrescence wafting from their... As you know, I once carried the burden of disease upon emaciated shoulders. Perhaps I had better explain in greater detail. Yes, let's get this over with. It was an unparalleled horror. Scores of physicians flocked to my bedside. They traveled from realms across the seas hoping to cure the mighty Jaya, but none of their potions took effect. Their salves seared, but did not soothe my fading flesh. Like a ghoul I looked, unburied yet risen from the grave. It went like this, Hunter. If a ghoul I had become, so a dark turn of thought convinced me. A ghoul's methods I should employ to escape the labyrinthian crypt of corporeal corruption. I did unspeakable things in the dusky dungeons that twist like forgotten veins to long-deceased organs far beneath my castle's sunlit halls. Halls which held my throne and held the bed upon which Heraka slept, her very touch blessing the satin she reposed upon. Still there came no relief. Perversions I created in scores, but they were mere undead all. Creatures so piteous that the thought of cheating death in their guise frightened me more than the swing of the like mosquitoes in the night. Panic and despair beset me until I turned to that darkest of all arts, demonology. It had to be. There was no other way. I could feel the life slipping out of me like love out of a betrayed spouse's heart. So I studied tomes so old the dust that fell from their centuries I drew forbidden symbols. I spoke unhallowed words, and from the smoke that rose like a dragon's last breath, a demon appeared to me and said, "Ask, O Heraka." Never had I known a single word can cut deeper than the sharpest of daggers. With maddening glee, the demon told me she was one of his kin, a soul-swallowing horror that had been feeding on both my body and my spirit like a leech. An ancient being was she, that moved from... After such revelations, does one truly desire to live on? Death seemed like a mother then, welcoming me with her all will be well embrace. Yet still I feared exceedingly her seemingly sweet caress, and the oblivion. It smiled, of course it did. Smiled bare 100 razors as its eyes came alight with infernal fire. 1,000 years I will give you, it whispered. But then your soul shall be mine to incarcerate in the depths of hellish nemesis. As for your throne, that I'll have now. I think you know the answer to that question, Hunter. But I've said enough for now. These memories are painful to recollect. And so let the hunt
Well, well, well. So our very own demon hunter once dabbled in the so-called darkest of arts himself. Neither can I. Clearly his great love was almost the very death of him. She broke his heart in more ways.
Over here, Hunter. It's me, Source Hunter. You've made it into the hamlet of Silverglen, I see. Unnerving spot, don't you find? Leandra has fashioned herself a hero here, but the townsfolk don't seem to know the truth behind. They're thick as trout, if you ask me, and unnaturally obsessed with I haven't seen Leandra here myself, but she must have put on quite a show of magical mastery to enthrall a crowd of shaggy miners. To have them hop... Haven't you heard them whisper of the blood? How their eyes shine when they discuss certain stellar stones? Star stones, of course, which drenched in blood become bloodstones. Now, I can see how it could be a fantastic thing to nurse a dying human back to health, if all it takes is to sacrifice a toad. They all act like they're following a benign goddess that will lead them to paradise. But I'll be a dappled Dalmatian if any of that is true. I've been shadowing the local priest, a man by the name of Loic. I have the feeling he knows more than most in Silverglen, Mangoth, Hyberheim. Of strange things I've heard him whisper. Yes, this priest has shady goings-on written all over that smug, holier-than-thou face of his. But we must start at the beginning, Source Hunter. The White Witch is still at large. If we want to get to the true heart of Leandra's doings, we must start with her sister. And she's far likelier to be in her cabin. The advantage of being a puss, my friend, is that one can pussyfoot. A white-haired wizard. Not that I'm not extra wary of these bloodsuckers, though. There's a conspicuous... The Immaculate's presence here is highly disconcerting. But we mustn't lose sight of our mission, Source Hunter. Though...
Welcome be, O seeking souls, to this holy house of Immaculate. I am Loic, enlightened one among Immaculates, spokesman for the holy conduit, as she is. Then it shall be my pleasure to answer them. We are the chosen ones of the goddess. The benedictions of the blood render our bodies and spirits unblemished, for such is her mercy, that we may all become part of the sacred... You find yourself in the goddess's temple, therefore it follows she wants you to take the true path. So here, have this hallowed tome, read it, absorb the wisdom within, then find the second part and do with it the same. The conduit, yes. She, the most exalted of all, second only to the goddess. It was she who brought us first her divine words, then her divine will, a will made real in blood. Truly, though, she is quite beyond. The goddess is the light and life of all. Corrupt is the world that generations of men and beasts have left behind, but immaculate it may be once more. Cleansed, the few, the proud, the enlightened, theirs will be her kingdom. When red has run until no red is left, a paradise we will have shapen, and the goddess will dwell among us. Do you hold it to be true, O Seeker, that you are ready to be tested? A most sacred trio of queries shall I put before thee, but even if thou falterest but a single time, unworthy will thou be deemed. Blessed be your willing spirit. Premise the first. In honor of the goddess, that which was...
Agreed. That is correct.
Premise the second. The blood of the greater should be used in service of the lesser, so that balance...
Yes, that is incorrect.
Premise the third. Only those who have partaken in the spilling of blood and thereby created the stone that...
In fact, that premise is incorrect.
All right, we'll do it your...
Your knowledge has been weighed and you have been found wanting. Begone, aspirant, and do not return until true wisdom has done. Then it shall be my pleasure to answer them. The goddess is the light and life of all. Corrupt is the world that generations of men and beasts, the few, the proud, the enlightened...
Anyone?
Immaculate I want to be. The blood of the lost will flow.
Diligently will I read the words of the goddess.
Underside of a bridge aroma.
Better that than reeking of fresh blood.
You at someone, or you always.
What news from the mines? No news, sir. Source hunter, are you? What brings you to this neck of the woods? The goblins? The orcs? Don't be surprised if you hear more than a few unkind words about yours truly around town. I'm finished with this one-pony rodeo, though. I did my best by these roughnecks, and now it's time for old Brandon to take a load off. In fact...
No crooked plan shall cross these ears. I'm sure we can think of more interesting ways to entertain ourselves than by doing Brandon's dirty work.
No, we'll do as I say.
Oh, I knew a source hunter'd perk up at the sound of a challenge. Between you and me, the Troll King's sitting on a piece of treasure of more value than even he knows. A metal called tenebrium that can fetch a prettier sum than its weight in gold. The devil's in the details, though, and I haven't managed to find a way to access the King's cave, much less make off with the stuff. But you're a source hunter. You can sniff out any point of mystery. So let's make a deal, You find the tenebrium and bring it to me, and I'll deliver... I wouldn't wish the wrath on me worst enemy, though. So let me give you a little something to contain the tenebrium bars. It's lined with the fragments of a special stone that keeps... Apart from Gungir's stature and incurable case of the uglies, is not so different from a parakeet. Got a brain the size of a pea, and a fervent passion for all things bright and shiny. The nutty oaf sits on a river of silver beneath these mines, but leases it to the mining company for a fraction of its worth in gold. He'd rather put those hefty minions of his on toll duty than mine these hills himself for 5 times the reward. I can't be certain myself where his cave is located, But at least one of those oaf lackeys of his must know where to look. They've got to do something with all the gold they've gathered in the course of guarding those damn bridges, haven't they? I'm no man to refuse a source hunter. Ask away, friend. A strange sort of substance, discovered here around 2 years ago, and folks have been clamouring to get their paws on the rancid stuff ever since. How now, pal of mine? I'm no man to refuse a source hunter. Ask away, friend.
A source hunter! My liege, I am at your disposal. I am Lawrence, the representative of the mining guild. Oh, I am no one special. Merely a humble servant. My only cause for complaint, Your Grace, are these awful goblins. They're starving us out, refusing even a single honest miner his... You must forgive me if I become somewhat overcome when discussing it, my liege. To think how I've been betrayed. I invited a tribe of goblins to assist us in clearing the tenebrium from our mine, you see. The leader of the troop... when the job was done, though, he and his band of totem-brain fiends refused to vacate. They've kept close guard of the bridges to the mine since. These goblins follow Drexis like lemmings, Your Grace, and if only I could undo the traitor, they'd slither back to the swamp they crawled from. Drexis's head on my mantle would save countless miners from a slow starvation. Please, Your Grace, I am completely at your disposal. Useless stuff, my liege. Worse than common dirt, but 10 times as difficult to extract and infinitely more dangerous. If only we'd known in advance. Yes, a dreadful business that. I've been fortunate enough to avoid this. You see, my liege, when a miner has been overlong exposed to tenebrium, he begins showing certain symptoms. Gangrene about the extremities, fatigue. Had we known then what we've since discovered, we never would have continued operations. But alas, mistakes were made, and those we lost can never be brought back, no matter what that crackpot conduit would have one believe. My liege, you ought not to concern yourself with the fraudulent leader of a crackpot cult. Some insane huckster calling herself the conduit of the goddess made her way to Silver Glen when by magic or illusion she managed to cure a handful of them of the affliction. Every last one of the bunch began speaking of her as though she were some messiah. Now, fortunately for her, she disappeared shortly after her little trick. Or I would have thrown her into prison and swallowed the key myself. Those brutes! I invited them here to save our valued miners from the ill effects of clearing. They haven't allowed a single human miner past them in months. And meanwhile, my men have all but forgotten their vocation and turned instead to their damn enough to know the whole institution has been a blight on productivity. With the blessings of the conduit,